Hi everyone, it's time for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around, we're going to be talking about the 2003 film S.W.A.T. Now, S.W.A.T. has quite a few well-known actors that are in this movie. You got Samuel L. Jackson as Sergeant Dan Hondo Harrelson, Colin Farrell as Jim Street, Michelle Rodriguez as Chris Sanchez, LL Cool J as Deacon DK, Josh Charles as TJ McCabe, Jeremy Renner as Brian Gamble, Olivier Martinez as Alex Montel, Reg E. Cathy as Lieutenant Greg Velasquez, sorry. And it's just seen, I think that's about the extent of the well known actors in this one. Yep, so basically the premise of SWAT. Two wisecracking, battle-hardened veterans, Samuel L. Jackson and Colin Farrell, team up with a pair of street-smart rookies, Michelle Rodriguez and LL Cool J, to form the most freewheeling but effective SWAT team ever. First assignment, transport an international drug kingpin into federal custody after he's offered $100 million to anyone who will free him. So the opening scene of the movie at the bank is somewhat based off of the real life 1997 North Hollywood shootout. The bad guys in the movie actually even use the same getaway car as the bad guys in the real shootout, in the North Hollywood shootout. Great opening scene, lots of action, some great humor in this movie. You got the scene with Street and his key to the city, as he liked to call it, device for dealing with barricaded suspects. Basically, it's a giant cannon, more or less, with basically a hook or a spear hook on the end of it that shoots through a wall, pulls the wall down, unless you gain access to a suspect without actually having to force open a door or something, like a logical way that somebody would expect somebody to come in. A lot of attention to detail and accuracy went into this movie. In the way the SWAT team members move, talk to each other, and just the overall look and acting of the part makes it very real and believable. I love the scene with Hondo and Street. They're driving around, basically meeting all the potential candidates for the SWAT team that Hondo is tasked with putting together. It's pretty interesting and funny scene. And then of course after they meet the potential candidates, put the SWAT team together. You cut to a scene with Alex Montel. He's just arrived in the United States. Nobody knows who he is. He's going to see his uncle. And after meeting with his uncle, he's driving around in his uncle's Cadillac. And you've got the Linkin Park song "Figure 9" from their Meteora album. I love Linkin Park. It's my favorite band. So the fact that they have a song in here is pretty cool. Interesting scene for sure. It's pretty cool getting a glimpse into what training to become a member of a SWAT team is like. It's pretty intense and not for the weak morally or physically, for sure. It's a very demanding job for sure. So then you've got the final test scene, which takes place on a derelict airplane. They've basically done a mock hijacking sequence. And the mock action sequences and the tactics the team uses to complete and pass the test. It's just a really cool scene, one of my favorites in the movie. And they got a really cool song. I don't know who sings it or what the song is called, but it's a really cool song that kind of sets the mood for the whole scene that's playing throughout it. So yeah, really great scene. Then you've got the scene at the restaurant where they're celebrating, the fact that they passed the test. They are now officially SWAT team members. And they start singing the original, the SWAT theme song from the TV show back, I think it was like the 70s. It's pretty funny hearing them kind of singing along to that song. They kind of tied that in with the original series. Is pretty cool. Then you got the cut to the scene where they actually use Street's key to the city for the first time in a real life setting. They basically use it to deal with a barricaded old guy it's kind of funny. They're in. He's in his underwear, and he's basically off his meds. He's popping shotgun rounds out the front door. It's just freaking hilarious when they take the key to the city and they bust down the door or take down the wall to gain access to him. And the whole guy, he's not right in his head. And he's like, "It's them damn robot aliens." It's a pretty great scene. It's another one of my favorite scenes in the movie for sure. Then you've got to the prison bus scene. So basically, Alex Montel, he ends up being, I forgot to mention in that scene where he's driving his uncle's Cadillac. The Cadillac had a busted taillight, and basically they pulled him over on the busted taillight, and the uncle had a warrant out for him for something, and because they couldn't verify initially who Alex Montel was, they placed him in custody. Well, during this prison bus scene, they basically know who he is now. But as he's being transported, they figure out who he really is. He's this international criminal. And some bad guys of Alex's attempt to break him out. Before they can actually put him in a federal prison or wherever they were taking him on the bus. It's quite a intense and good action sequence for sure. Of course, he doesn't get away. The SWAT team arrives just in time to take him back into custody. As they're putting him into the local prison before they transfer him to the federal prison, he makes an offer of $100 million to anybody who can break him out of prison, as the case said on the front. Which in turn attracts a lot of criminals from all over the city of Los Angeles, including Street's ex-partner Gamble. Who ends up shooting down an LAPD helicopter with a large caliber sniper rifle. Takes out the engine, causes it to crash. They were going to try and transport Alex out via airship, and that didn't work, obviously. So basically what I'm with Gamble, that's Jeremy Renner's character. At the beginning of that bank scene, basically he ends up wounding a hostage to get the bad guy and disobeying a direct order. So he gets thrown off SWAT, and more or less he quits the force and ends up turning to a life of crime. And then of course when this $100 million offer comes out, he takes the opportunity. He doesn't care what he has to do to get it. Then you've got the shootout scene that takes place in the next scene. With all these various criminals trying to get at what they think is Alex in this police convoy. Done on is on a slightly larger scale. It's quite intense and action-packed, and really keeps you glued to the screen as you watch it. I mean, this scene goes on for like 5 minutes. Of course, the cops end up overpowering the bad guys because they set it up as a trap for the bad guys. It was a decoy. Alex wasn't really in there. They were just trying to lure out as many of the criminals as possible. So in that essence, I think they did an effective job. Then you go to the scene with the SWAT team and Alex, the smaller convoy, the more stealthy convoy, just the SWAT team in these two vehicles. They're kind of bantering back and forth about what had happened. It's a great dialogue scene. A lot of back and forth banter between Alex and the team. It's quite funny. And then part of the team, another member of the smaller SWAT team, TJ, ends up betraying the team for Alex's $100 million offer. So and he's teamed up with Gamble, and they take off with Alex and trying to get away. Their plan was eventually to get to this smaller bridge that they've temporarily closed down to land a small plane on in order to fly away. And where it to see this plane land on a bridge is quite a unique sequence, something you don't really see every day in the movie, and it's pretty cool. And then the ending of the movie, it's great, full of action, good one-on-one fight scenes between some of the members of the SWAT team and the bad guys. It's got sharp one-liners. My favorite one-liner is, the very end, Alex is left standing. He doesn't have a gun. He's trying to get away, and Deacon LL Cool J's character chases him down, tackles him, and, flips him over, basically points his gun at him and just looks him dead in the eye and says, "Tell Daddy where you want it." I love that line. That is hilarious. Overall, it's a great action film with great cop scenes, shootouts, but also great humor. It's a simple but very simple storyline, but very on point in the plot line that is easy to follow and very enjoyable to watch. So yeah, highly recommend SWAT. If you haven't seen it before, definitely check it out. If you have seen it, watch it again. I would give it probably a PG-13 rating with some of the violence, maybe 14A. I'd let you be the judge of that if you're a parent. But yeah, definitely, it's not a rated R movie by any means. So check it out. You will not be disappointed. All right, folks, you take care. Have yourselves a good one. We'll see you in the next one.